Surah 33, Al-Ahzaab. The parties. Ayat 1. O our Nabi, you should remain fully conscious of the divine laws and guard them. Do not give in to those who openly deny this law, or to those who accept it outwardly and not from the depth of their hearts. Most certainly our law of Mukafat knows everything, and all our plans are based on wisdom. Ayat 2. And continue to follow the wahi which is revealed to you from your Rabb. Also keep reminding your followers about it and tell them that Allah knows fully well all that you do. Ayat 3. You should have complete trust in the firmness of our laws. These laws will never let you down and they are enough to guard you in every way. Ayat 4. The Munafiqeen, hypocrites, continue to spread rumors to create disorder in the society, but you should not become disturbed by these. Always keep in mind that in social dealings only that act which is committed with full intention is cognizable. However, if an action takes place inadvertently, or under emotional stress, or if you say something in anger, then in all such cases these would not be taken as decisive words from you, even though they would be improper. This is because man is provided with only one heart, mind, and not two. As such it is not possible that he take two decisions at the same time from his heart. Therefore, if there is nonconformity between the intention and the pronouncement, the judgment will be based on that which was said with full intention. For instance, if someone, out of sheer anger calls his wife his mother, she does not actually become his mother. Likewise if someone, out of love, calls any child his son, it does not mean that the child actually becomes his son. These are just your casual statements which cannot be taken as final, decisive words. Allah's law speaks the firm truth and is not subject to your social or customary proverbs. Therefore, only His law guides you to the right path. Ayat 5. It would be better if those, whom, out of affection, you refer to as your sons, are called with reference to their fathers. This is a better way according to Allah's laws. However, if you do not know the names of their fathers, such children are your brothers in deen and your friends. Anything that is said inadvertently, for example, if you have pronounced someone as a son, no cognizance would be taken of that. Cognizance is, however, taken of all actions which are undertaken intentionally and with full consciousness. Remember, adequate provisions have been made in the divine laws for not taking action on inadvertent matters, so that such things do not hinder your process of development. Ayat 6. In your society, the strongest ties amongst you are those based on your common association with deen. Yet, blood relations too have their place. Take for instance the position of Allah's Nabi. He has a higher claim on Momineen than they have on their own selves, because they have handed over their lives and property to him for the sake of Allah. And the wives of the Rasul are like mothers for the members of this Ummah, and their marriage to any one of them is not permissible. However, in respect of all the rights of your close relatives, as described in the divine law, such as inheritance, your own relatives have higher claims than the claims of other Momineen and Muhajirin, migrants from Makkah settled in Medina. Nonetheless, if you want to make any special provisions for your other close friends, such special provisions have been included in the Qur'an, the Book of Allah. For example, there is the provision for a will, whereby it is permitted to give to anyone one desires. Ayat 7. This special relationship of the Nabi with the members of his Ummah is absolutely necessary in order to achieve the supreme objective for which he has been sent and for which a covenant has been taken. Such a special pledge was taken from all the previous Anbiya including Noah, Abraham, Moses and Jesus son of Mary. A similar pledge is being taken from you and the same obligations have been prescribed for you. These obligations are extremely important and this is a very solemn pledge. Ayat 8. The details of such obligations are lengthy, but in brief the objective is that people who want to spend their lives to uphold truth and justice should utilize this true spirit of theirs in a positive manner. And for the misdeeds of those who deny the truth and take on a rebellious course, A very grievous suffering should be inflicted on them. In other words, the duty of those Anbiya was to establish an order, wherein the results of right or wrong ways of life should appear forthwith. Ayat 9. O Jama'athul Momineen, to achieve this purpose you have to go to war at times, as in your case, you had to go to war several times. One such war was the Battle of Ahzaab, in respect of which you should keep in mind the blessings of Allah. When the enemy forces came down upon you, we let loose stormy winds against them. These winds in fact were the heavenly forces which could not be seen, and Allah was fully watchful of everything you were doing. Ayat 10. When enemy forces stormed you from all directions, it was such a difficult time that your eyes were stupefied with horror and your hearts thumped with fear, as if they would jump up to your throats, and those, amongst you, who were weak developed doubts about Allah's promise. Ayat 11. At that hour of staggering calamity, the true inner courage of the Momineen was revealed. Everyone witnessed the courage and fortitude with which they stood and fought under such adverse circumstances. Ayat 12. On the contrary, the Munafiqeen and those who were deceitful, spread rumors that all the promises which Allah and His Rasul had made them, were nothing but delusions. Ayat 13. One of the groups went to the extent of saying, O people of Medina, as you cannot hold the ground and withstand the attack of the enemy, it would be better to go back immediately. One of the groups even asked the Nabi to excuse them, on the plea that their houses were not secure, even though they really were quite safe. Actually, using this excuse, they wanted to run away from the battlefield. Ayat 14. Such was the condition of these people that if the enemy had entered the city from all sides and asked them to rise and revolt against the Muslims, they would have done so, without any hesitation. Therefore, their claim that their homes were not secure and that is why they wanted to go, was just an excuse. Ayat 15. This was the state of mind of the people who had earlier vowed before Allah that they would never turn their backs. As such, it was incumbent upon them to fulfill that vow. Ayat 16. We told our Rasul to say to them, running away from the battlefield like this, to avoid death or being killed, will be of no use to you. You may be able to enjoy the good things in life only for a short while. You are not going to live forever. Furthermore, after breaking your promise and showing disloyalty to your party, your remaining life cannot be spent with ease and grace. Ayat 17. We also asked our Rasul to tell them, those of you who are treacherous against the divine system should keep in mind that if and when the system wants to punish you for your action, no one can protect you. Similarly, rest assured that no one can snatch away from you the pleasant things in life which you will get by remaining loyal to this system. Remember, if you are cut off from it, you will not find anyone who can help you or even be your friend. Ayat 18. We also asked him to tell them, Allah knows fully well all those who are trying to stop others from going to the battlefield, and persuading their brethren to stay back in peace so as not to put themselves in unnecessary trouble. These are the people who seldom come to the battlefield, and they stop others from doing so. Ayat 19. In other words, they are covetous in dealing with you. You must have witnessed that whenever they come to the battlefield and any danger threatens them, they look at you with their eyes rolling in terror, like those of a man in the swoon of death. However, as soon as the danger passes and you are victorious, they try to highlight their own deeds and speak volumes about themselves, as if while others were about to flee the battlefield they were the only people who crushed the enemy. The motive behind this is that when the booty is being distributed, they expect to be given preference over others. Such people can never be trustworthy and their hypocritical deeds have no weight in the divine scale. All their efforts go waste, and all this is very easy for Allah's law. Ayat 20. They talk a lot with false pride, whereas in actual fact they are in a miserable state of fear. So much so that although the enemy forces have been defeated, they remain fearful that the enemy is still around them and is rearranging for another attack. If the forces return, these hypocrites contend that they would have preferred to be in the desert, somewhere far away among the Bedouins. They only wait to hear the news, whether you have attained victory or have been defeated. Even if they had stayed with you, very few of them would have taken part in the battle. Ayat 21. There was a time during the Battle of Ahzaab when the afflictions and hardships were at their peak. The enemy was a source of external threat and the hypocrites were creating a problem on the internal front. However, the Rasul stood firm and he never wavered. This steadfastness was a noble example par excellence and a great source of strength and peace of mind for all those who have unwavering faith in the universality of the divine laws, who look forward with hope to a bright and prosperous future, and who always keep in view the divine laws. Ayat 22. Consequently, when the Momineen saw the mighty forces of the enemy, they did not panic, but instead exclaimed, "The time for the fulfillment of the promise that Allah and His Rasul made to us has come. Now everyone will see how it comes true in reality." These forces strengthened their iman and added to their sense of loyalty. Ayat 23. These are the brave Momineen, who have always been true to what they had vowed before their Allah. Some of them have already fulfilled their vow by laying down their lives, and others are eagerly waiting for their turn and opportunity to fulfill it by personal sacrifice. These are the sincerest people who never change their resolve. Ayat 24. Similarly, as has been mentioned in Surah 33 Ayat 8, the truthfulness of the honest becomes helpful in establishing and strengthening the divine order. Allah's law of mukafat will bring to them the fullest results of their constructive and righteous deeds, and it will punish the munafiqeen for their misdeeds. However, if they regret their past deeds, and sincerely promise to reform themselves, they can be forgiven. This is so because the divine laws have provision for extending protection from punishment and giving means of nourishment. Ayat 25. In this manner Allah Almighty, at the hands of the Momineen, defeated the mighty enemy forces, which turned back with fury and anger suppressed in their hearts. They did not gain anything from this attack. In fact, the outcome of the battle proved the helpfulness of Allah's law for the Momineen, and they witnessed with their own eyes how almighty and all-powerful His law is. Ayat 26. And the Al-Kitab, the Jews of Medina, who were followers of earlier revelations, who, contrary to their pact, had helped the enemy, were thrown out of their strongholds. Furthermore, so much awe and fear of your strength was cast into their hearts that they stood before you like a herd of sheep. You killed some of them, in the battlefield, and you made the others captives. Ayat 27. Like this He made you the heirs of their lands, houses and wealth. Similarly He will give you possession of lands on which you have not yet set your feet. Everything occurs in accordance with divine laws and in line with the measures and scales set by Him. All promises made by the Almighty do come true. Ayat 28. Waging wars or conquering territories are the means to remove obstacles in the way of establishing the divine order, which is not an end in itself. The objective of the divine order is to reform society by proper training and education, to enable the people to establish a system based on equity and justice. In this regard, the duties and responsibilities of womenfolk are not less than those of men. Therefore, O Rasul, whereas you have conveyed so many directions to men, the details of which have already been mentioned, you will also have to appropriately train and educate the women. The beginning should be right from your house, where they have to set an example for other women. O Rasul, make it clear to your wives, if you desire my companionship, then the one and only aim of your life should be to help me accomplish the mission which I have undertaken. But, if you desire to live a life of worldly comfort and glamour, then our mutual companionship cannot last. Actually, real companionship means complete understanding for the sake of a common objective. If the very objective is not shared, then how can the companionship last? Consequently, you have the choice to leave. In case you decide to leave, I will provide you all the necessary things and bid you farewell most gracefully. Ayat 29. But if you want to devote your lives to the divine system and prefer the comfort and joy of the life that is to come, instead of present luxuries, then for those amongst you who adopt this style of life voluntarily and gracefully, Allah's law of mukafat will bestow a mighty reward on them. Ayat 30. O wives of the Nabi! Keep in mind one more thing. Since you have to become models for others, you have to be extremely careful. If any one of you is found guilty of manifesting immoral conduct, you will be given double the punishment than that given to others, and under the divine laws the enforcement of this law is not at all difficult. Ayat 31. Likewise, whoever shows complete obedience to Allah and His Rasul and does righteous deeds, shall be rewarded twice over and shall be nobly provided, with full dignity and honor. Ayat 32. O wives of the Nabi, because you are not like any other women, whose conduct influences only their own persons, the influence of your character affects the whole society, you have to be very careful and cautious. While speaking, to the non-mahram, do not be soft in speech, lest he whose heart is evil develops wrong desires. Speak in an honorable manner. Ayat 33. And stay in your houses with dignity and grace. You should not misbehave. And when you go out, do not display yourself with ornaments like the women used to do in their ignorance, before the revelation of the Qur'an, and never do anything which could, directly or otherwise, stir emotional feelings of the males. You should remain steadfast to the Nizam as-Salah and make provisions for the development of your human potential through education and training. For this purpose you should give complete obedience to Allah and His Rasul. Allah Almighty wishes that the Nabi's household become a model for society. Thus, He wants to cleanse you of all that might be loathsome and hinder the development of your persons. Therefore, O members of the household of the Rasul, be excellent models of purity and grace for others. Ayat 34. This will only be possible if you always bear in mind Allah's directives and the wisdom behind them, as mentioned in the Quran, and you should do nothing which goes against these directives. Allah is all-perceiving and is well aware about everything, even to the most minute details. Ayat 35. O Rasul! The education and upbringing of your household is important because they have to serve as models for other women. Remember that society consists of both men and women, who have to go through life hand in hand. If one of them lags behind, it is bound to hamper the progress of the other. It should be well understood that there is no difference in the potentialities of men and women except certain biological differences which have been retained for the procreation of the human race. Therefore, in an Islamic society, both men and women should have the following qualities. 1. They should totally submit to the divine laws. 2. This obedience should not be mechanical, but must arise from the very depth of their hearts. They should thus exhibit complete conviction in them. 3. They should utilize their developed potentialities according to the divine laws. 4. They should be true to the covenant which they made with Allah. 5. They should remain steadfast when facing adversity, troubles or difficulties. 6. They should always be prompt in rendering service to others, like the fruit-laden branch of an easily accessible tree. 7. They should be ever ready to sacrifice all their assets for the sake of the divine order. 8. They should abstain from all that the divine laws prohibit, and they should bear in mind the restrictions imposed by these laws. 9. They should guard their chastity fully. 10. In short, throughout their lives, at each and every step, they should act upon the divine laws. These are the people to whom Allah's law of mukafat will provide full protection against all types of doom. They will get great reward for all their efforts and deeds. In this regard there is no difference between men and women. Ayat 36. O Rasul, also tell them that, whenever Allah and His Rasul have decreed a matter, then none of the mu'mineen men or women has any option but to obey willingly. Whoever disobeys has indeed completely strayed in plain error. Ayat 37. It should be well understood that although the Rasul pronounces the decisions, in reality the obedience is to the divine system. However, this does not mean disobedience to the Rasul, as you have the right to disagree with the personal suggestions of the Rasul or his advice. This in no way would mean disobedience to Allah and His Rasul. In this connection, the episode of Zayd sets forth an explicit example. He, Zayd, was a person upon whom Allah had conferred grace and on whom, O Rasul, you too had extended personal favors. It was to him that you advised, keep your wife in wedlock and in this way maintain a relationship which has been established according to the divine law. Tolerate any petty differences you may have, and if there is something serious, then speak about it openly, as hiding it will be of no use. If you hide it in your heart, it will have to be explained later, at the time of divorce, as per the requirements of divine law. Do not have fears about people, as to what they would say, for you have to fear only Allah, ensuring that His laws are not violated. Zayd did not accept your advice, and after he divorced his wife, you married her according to the divine law. Earlier, we had revealed clear verses that an adopted son does not become a real one. Marrying the wife of a real son is not permitted. However, there is no blame in marrying the divorced wife of an adopted son, and therefore this action of the Rasul was in accordance with the divine laws. This episode clearly brings out two issues. Firstly, only those decisions of the Rasul are binding which he makes in his capacity as Allah's Rasul. Otherwise, one can differ with his personal advice. Secondly, adopted sons do not become real sons. Ayat 38. There is no blame if Allah's Nabi does something which is permitted according to the divine law. This, however, has not been promulgated specially for the Rasul. The divine law has always been like this. Allah's commands are always made according to the measures determined by His Mashia. They are not made for particular emergent situations and are therefore unchangeable. Ayat 39. Similar laws were revealed to other Rasul, messengers, before you. They were only fearful of the outcome of disobeying the divine laws and not those of anyone else. They knew full well that they were answerable to Allah Almighty and to no one else. Ayat 40. It should be clearly known to all who are whispering about the Rasul's wedding with the divorced wife of Zayd, that Muhammad is not the father of any man amongst you. If out of affection he refers to someone as his son, that person does not become his son in reality. Furthermore, the Rasul does not devise his own self-made laws, he only conveys to you the laws revealed to him, and he himself obeys those laws. The nature of these laws is such that they cannot be changed, neither in his life nor after him, because the institution of Nubuwah, receiving directives through wahi, will be coming to an end with him. All this will happen on the basis of Allah's infinite knowledge. He knows fully well how long the institution of Nubuwah should continue and when it should end. Whatever was necessary and important for mankind and for their guidance, was finally conveyed in the Qur'an. And then the Qur'an was preserved forever in its complete form. Ayat 41. The institution of Nubuwah has come to an end, but as far as the obligations of the Rasul are concerned, that is to convey the divine laws to the people and establish the divine order, these were entrusted to the Ummah of Muhammad. Therefore, O Jama'athul Mu'mineen, it is obligatory on you to always keep in view the divine laws and to extensively disseminate them further. Ayat 42. And to keep on working day and night to practically implement them. Ayat 43. If you continue to do this, then all the blessings of the divine laws, along with the help and assistance of all the heavenly forces, will remain with you. Their blessings and greetings will continue to be showered on you. The practical result of this will be that He will take you out of all kinds of darkness into the bright light and continue to develop your potentialities. Ayat 44. The present life of these mu'mineen will be glorious and dignified, and thereafter, when they are rewarded for their deeds, they will be given salutations of peace from all around as well as a highly honored and dignified status. Ayat 45. O Nabi! As far as you are concerned, we have sent you to establish a divine system which will also supervise the performance of all nations. You will be the bearer of glad tidings to the people who follow this system, and warn them about the destructive results of disobeying it. Ayat 46. The Rasul invites mankind to the divine system according to our code, thereby providing brilliant light, like a shining sun, in the dark aspects of human life. Ayat 47. O Rasul! Convey glad tidings to the Mu'mineen, about how they will be honored with abundant bounties from Allah. Ayat 48. Continue to spread this message and do not give in to the Kafirin and Munafiqeen. Ignore the afflictions you suffer at their hands and put your trust in the stability and firmness of the divine order. You will see how extremely satisfying and sufficient it is to have trust in the divine order. Ayat 49. In this system men and women have to work together, and as such it is mandatory that explicit regulatory laws be given about family life. Various laws and directions have been given earlier in detail, and now some more laws are being given in continuation of the above. O Jama'atul Mu'mineen! If you marry Monan women and then divorce them, according to the laws, before you have touched them, it is not obligatory on you to count the iddah, the period during which you are responsible for their provision, because they cannot enter into another marriage. So give them suitable provisions and set them free in a handsome manner. Marriage is a contract. When this contract cannot be fulfilled, it should be cancelled as per laws. It should not be made into a dispute. Ayat 50. O Nabi, verily we have made lawful to you, your wives to whom you have paid their dowers, those who have returned to you from the unbelievers, the daughters of your parental uncles and aunts, who have migrated with you, and those Monan females who themselves offer to marry you without dower, mayor, and you also wish to marry them. Both these privileges, regarding cousins and marriage without dower, are specifically for you and not for the rest of the Mu'mineen. For other Mu'mineen, detailed directions about their wives and slave girls, who were already present in the society, have already been given. These special laws are being made for you so that you would have no difficulty in solving problems. Such provisions are made in the divine code so as to protect society in general and ensure that people face no setbacks in the process of their development. This is purely Allah's grace. Ayat 51. At the same time, some special restrictions are being imposed particularly on you, O Rasul, and not on other Mu'mineen. As has been mentioned before, the emergent conditions are now over, so you may allow freedom of choice to your wives. Those who still want to live with you, even in somewhat constrained circumstances, can stay on. Those who want to go away, let them go gracefully. Just as they have been given this choice, you too have the choice to keep the one whom you think can live with you as a compatible companion. Those who cannot live with you incompatibly may be asked to depart. They had come to your household during emergency conditions arising out of wars. At that time the primary objective was to give them protection. Now that the emergency is over, one should reconsider the situation according to prevalent circumstances. If after you have separated from someone you notice that she is disheartened and would be happy to come back, you have the permission to marry her again. However, she should be agreeable over whatever you can give her. These matters have been made absolutely clear, as Allah knows fully well what is in your heart. Allah is always all-knowing and all His decisions are based on wisdom. Ayat 52. Thereafter, it shall neither be lawful for you to marry other women, nor will it be permissible for you to marry other women by divorcing any one of your present wives, even though their virtues may appeal to you. From now onwards your wives will only be those who you have married legally. This restriction is only for you and not for other Muslims. Remember that the divine law is fully watchful of everything. Ayat 53. O Jama'atul Mu'mineen! There are certain important matters regarding social behavior in society. To begin with, do not enter the house of the Nabi without a proper invitation and permission, as this unnecessarily interferes with his privacy. If he invites you for a meal, do go there, but not so early that the meal is still being prepared and you have to wait for it. It is better that whenever you are invited, enter, at the proper time, but when you have finished the meal, leave without lingering on for the sake of mere conversation. If you do this, it will annoy the Rasul, but he may be embarrassed about telling you to leave. However, Allah is not shy of teaching you the truth. And if you have to take anything from the Nabi's house, do not enter casually, but ask for it from behind a screen, that is purer for both your heart as well as for the residents of the Rasul's household. It is not right that you should annoy the Rasul in any way. As has been mentioned earlier, the wives of the Rasul are like mothers to you. This has not been mentioned just for the sake of respect. It is not lawful for you to marry any of his widows after he has passed away, just like you cannot marry your real mothers. In the society, these matters may appear to be ordinary, but according to the divine law, they have far-reaching effects and are extremely important. Ayat 54. Keep in mind the real objective behind observing the social code. It is to inculcate a sense of discipline in your personality. Accordingly, do not observe it mechanically, but do so from the depth of your heart and with self-discipline. Also remember, whatever you reveal or conceal in your heart is very well known to Allah, and nothing is hidden from Him. Ayat 55. At the same time, it is expected of the wives of the Rasul to pay due attention to whatever they and other Monan females have been directed, that is, they should not display their adornment. However, there is no harm to appear freely before their fathers, or their sons, or their brothers, or their brothers' sons, or their sisters' sons and their women, believers, or their attendants, whether males or females. It is, however, necessary that they should consciously guard the divine laws and keep in mind that its eyes are ever watchful of everything, whether big or small. The philosophy of this has already been mentioned in Surah 24 Ayat 31. Ayat 56. These laws are framed to make your society a model for humanity. As has been said before, by virtue of obeying these laws you will receive all the help from the divine system and the heavenly forces. This very help and support is also available to the central authority of your system, the Nabi. However, this does not mean that you need not do anything because Allah Almighty and His heavenly forces are out to help and support Him. No. It is of prime importance that you become a continuous source of strength for Him and His mission, by providing your support and taking His mission to its accomplishment. There is only one way to achieve this, and that is to show, from the core of your heart, complete obedience to Him. Ayat 57. On the contrary, those who attempt to hurt or weaken Allah and His Rasul, that is the divine system, will be deprived of all pleasant things in this life as well as in the hereafter. And they will face a humiliating torment. Ayat 58. Those who unreservedly annoy Momineen men or women and commit the crime of slander, shall also be punished for this. Ayat 59. O Nabi, tell your wives and daughters and other Momineen women that when they go out, they should wear their cloaks over their clothes so as not to display their adornment. This will help them to be recognized so that they may not be annoyed by anyone with ill intent. This style will protect them and go a long way in their upbringing. Ayat 60. You should take this precaution, but, if the Munafiqeen and those among the people whose hearts are diseased with indecent things do not desist from spreading wicked rumors in the society, then certainly power will have to be used against them. Then after a little while, they will go away. Ayat 61. They will be deprived of all civic rights, which they enjoy as citizens of an Islamic state. If even then they do not desist, they will be arrested from wherever they are and verily they will be killed. Ayat 62. Such treatment for people of this kind is not something new. The divine law has always been extending such treatment. And you will not find any change in the way of the divine law. Ayat 63. Furthermore, these Munafiqeen and mischief mongers ask you when that era would come, when such serious punishments would be inflicted. Tell them that it is only known to Allah when this will happen. O you, who are so anxious to find out, that hour may well be very close to you. Ayat 64. These kuffar have gradually reached a stage, when the divine system will deprive them of all civic rights and amenities. Their deeds have prepared a grievous chastisement for them. Ayat 65. This will be such a lasting chastisement that they will be unable to come out of it, in this world or in the hereafter. They will neither find any protector nor will anyone help them. Ayat 66. On that day they will be thrown into the fire face downward, and they will say, Alas! We wish we had obeyed Allah and His Rasul, the divine system. Ayat 67. At that time they will also say, O our Rabb! Verily we obeyed our leaders who had assumed a higher role for themselves and they misled us from the right path. Ayat 68. O our Rabb! Give them double punishment and deprive them of all the pleasant things of life, in such a manner that none of these ever reach them. Ayat 69. O Jama'athul Momineen! This type of social revolution can only be brought about if you establish your system along correct lines. It is thus necessary that you obey your Rasul and do not cause him any harassment, like the Bani Israel who used to annoy their Rasul, Moses. The details have already been described in Surah Al-Baqarah. The result was that no harm came to Moses, as he enjoyed a very high status with Allah. However, the promise given to the Bani Israel, for establishing their authority in the land was delayed, and during this period they continued to wander about and face great adversity. Ayat 70. O Jama'athul Momineen! You should always consciously guard the divine laws and speak that which is straightforward and firm. Ayat 71. If you adopt this attitude, He will rightly direct all your efforts and protect you from the ill effects of your minor slips, omissions or mistakes. Remember, the nations which obey Allah and His Rasul will indeed get great achievements. As long as you continue to do this, success and achievements will always be at your feet, but if you become dishonest in this regard, you will be deprived of all the bounties. Ayat 72. If you look at the universe, its huge heavenly bodies, your planet Earth, and the big mountains, you will notice one thing most clearly, that throughout the day and night and as per their capabilities, they remain fully responsive to the duty and function which was assigned to them. They dare not commit even an iota of dishonesty and, in fact, they tremble at the very idea. However, the plight of man is such that he indulges in dishonesty while performing the duties entrusted to him, although by doing so he harms no one except himself. How very foolish of him to commit so much zulm on himself. If he had followed the guidance of wahi, as do other things in the universe, he would not have suffered any loss whatsoever. Ayat 73. Now the question arises, as to why man was not made like other creations in the universe, so that he too would have automatically followed the direction of wahi. The answer is clear. If man had also been bound that way, there would have been no difference between man and animal. The main difference is that a human being is given choice and discretion, so that of his own free will he can decide on whatever course he likes. A good deed performed under compulsion is not a good deed, nor is a bad deed under compulsion bad. The secret of man's greatness lies in his freedom of choice. This is how he becomes responsible for his actions, and that is why munafiq and mushrik men and women are punished for their misdeeds, whereas Allah's bounties are showered on momineen, believing men, and mu'minat, believing women. Furthermore, Allah would take them under His protection if they made a mistake, and keep them safe from its ill effects. Thus, their potentialities continue to develop. This can only be possible if human beings have the freedom to choose.